If the alliance brought new technologies, new ideas, and new perspectives, America, with its cultural emphasis on individualism and achievement, found itself in high demand as a cultural exchange destination. The competitive spirit that had once made other species nervous now drew visitors eager to experience human sports, business innovation, and educational methods. 5 years after full membership, a new type of ship prepared for launch from Earth orbit. The UAS Discovery represented the most advanced technologies of both human and alliance design. Its mission? To explore beyond the borders of known space. Its crew, a mix of humans and alliance species selected for complementary abilities. Captain Lee stood on the bridge, surveying his officers. His first officer was American like himself. His chief engineer was Shomal. His science director was from a methane-breathing species that had evolved on a gas giant. His security chief was Fellinis. Together, they represented the new face of the Alliance. Captain's log, first entry, Lee dictated. We depart tomorrow on humanity's first true deep space mission. When our ancestors looked at the stars, they imagined them filled with dangers, predators more fearsome than themselves. In finding that most intelligent life evolved from peaceful herbivores, we discovered a truth about ourselves. He paused, looking out at the stars. We came to the galaxy carrying the instincts of Earth's most successful predator. We found a galaxy that needed exactly what we feared most about ourselves. The Americans may have led humanity into this role, with our long tradition of military power and frontier exploration, but all humans have embraced our new place in the cosmic order. That night, in the ship's mess hall, humans and aliens shared a meal together. Some ate synthesized meat, others consumed only plants. They spoke different languages, breathed different atmospheres in their quarters, and saw the universe through different eyes. But when an alliance member told a joke, everyone laughed. When a human proposed a toast to their journey, everyone raised their drinking vessels. And when the ship's sensors detected an unusual energy reading from a nearby star system, everyone felt the same thing: curiosity, caution, and the shared certainty that whatever they found, they would face it together. The predator and the prey had become partners, and the stars themselves seemed brighter for it. Park dressed quickly and headed to the command center. Officers from a dozen species worked at various stations, but his eyes found his human team immediately. Commander Hayes, a former American Navy SEAL, was already reviewing tactical displays. The cracks hit hard and fast, Hayes reported. Alliance ships followed standard protocols, warning communications, defensive positioning, gradual escalation of countermeasures. And the cracks ignored all of it, Park finished the thought. The peaceful species of the Alliance couldn't comprehend an enemy that viewed negotiation as weakness. Park opened a channel to Earth. This is General Park aboard Vigilance. I am officially requesting emergency deployment of the Combined Earth Defense Forces under Protocol 7. Within 12 hours, the first human military vessels arrived, sleek destroyers and carriers, bearing the flags of various Earth nations, though American ships formed the largest contingent. The Alliance Council had initially restricted human military presence in space, but the cracks threat had changed everything. On the third day of the crisis, Park called a strategy meeting with his top commanders. The holographic display showed the cracks fleet advancing toward Proxima Station, a major Alliance hub. The Alliance defense fleet is following their doctrine, maintaining defensive formations, protecting civilian worlds, said Park. But the cracks are simply bypassing heavily defended positions and striking softer targets. Commander Hayes studied the display thoughtfully. The cracks expect us to protect everything, which means we can protect nothing effectively. She pointed to a seemingly insignificant star system. What if we deliberately left this mining outpost vulnerable? The Alliance officers looked shocked. Abandon civilians? Asked Captain Yuna, her large eyes blinking rapidly. Not abandon, Hayes explained. Evacuate them secretly, but make it appear defended by a small force. When the cracks move to attack, what they perceive as an easy target. We hit them from multiple vectors, finished Park, seeing the strategy. A trap. The Alliance commanders were uncomfortable with the plan. Their species had evolved as herd animals, with instincts to protect the entire group. The concept of sacrificing position to gain advantage seemed almost immoral, but they had seen enough of the cracks to know that conventional tactics were failing. 3 days later, the trap was set. The mining outpost at Kalari appeared to be defended by just 2 Alliance cruisers. Intelligence confirmed that the cracks had taken the bait. A battle group of 15 ships diverted from their main fleet to seize this seemingly easy prize. Commander Hayes led the operation from the American vessel Lexington, hidden in the dense asteroid field near Kalari. 5 other human ships and 3 Alliance vessels waited in similar concealment zones around the system. "Cracks fleet approaching Kalari," reported the sensor officer. "They've detected our decoy ships and are moving to engage." Hayes watched calmly as the crack ships formed their standard attack pattern, a pointed wedge designed to break through defensive lines. It was a formation that assumed the enemy would stand their ground. "The cracks are 10,000 kilometers from optimal position," said Hayes. "The decoy ships are beginning their retreat, as planned." The cracks, sensing victory, accelerated their pursuit, exactly as Hayes had predicted. They chased the fleeing Alliance cruisers deeper into the star system, unaware they were being drawn into a carefully prepared killing zone. "All ships, execute maneuver Thermopylae," ordered Hayes. The hidden vessels emerged simultaneously from 6 different positions, catching the cracks in a 3-dimensional crossfire. The battle lasted less than 30 minutes. 14 cracks ships were destroyed or disabled. 1 escaped to carry news of the defeat. Across Alliance space, the news spread quickly. Humans had achieved the first significant victory against the cracks. More importantly, they had demonstrated a way of thinking that the peaceful Alliance species struggled to comprehend. The willingness to appear weak in order to become strong, to sacrifice position to gain victory. When the captured cracks commander was brought before General Park for questioning, the alien glared with 4 hateful eyes. "Your trap was dishonorable," the cracks growled through the translator. "No," replied Park calmly. "It was necessary. There's a difference that your people might learn given time." On the Alliance capital world, Elder Yunha watched recordings of the battle with her council colleagues. After a long silence, she spoke the words that would change the Alliance forever. "Perhaps this is why the universe created predators after all." The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Alliance sparkled with light from 1,000 floating orbs. Representatives from 200 species filled the tiered seating that curved around the central speaking floor. Today marked a historic occasion. 5 years after the defeat of the cracks, humans would take their place as full members of the Alliance. Ambassador Rodriguez of the United States led the human delegation. Behind him walked General Park, Commander Hayes, and 20 other humans who had played key roles during the Cracks War. As they entered, a low murmur spread through the chamber. Many Alliance species still found the sight of predators unsettling. Despite everything, Elder Jiwoo rose from her seat at the center of the High Council. Her species was among the oldest in the galaxy, and she had initially voted against human membership years ago. "Representatives of Earth," she began, her translator conveying her whistling speech into standard Alliance language. "When we first discovered your world, we saw only your sharp teeth, your forward-facing eyes, and your history of conflict. We feared the predator in you." The chamber was completely silent now. The cracks taught us the value of what we feared. When peace failed, when diplomacy failed, when all our advanced technology failed, humanity's protective instincts did not fail. Rodriguez stepped forward to accept the official membership crystal. "The Alliance gave us the stars," he said simply. "We give you our promise to protect them." Later that day, on the orbiting station, now renamed Vigilance, Admiral Kim welcomed the first class of cadets to the new Interspecies Defense Academy. The large training hall contained an unusual sight. Young officers from 30 different species, including many who had never before considered military service. The old Alliance believed that predatory instincts must be suppressed for civilization to exist, Kim told them. The new Alliance understands that those same instincts, properly channeled, create the strongest defenders. A young Shomal officer raised a tentacle. But how can we who evolved as peaceful grazers learn to think like predators? And how can we predators learn to use our instincts wisely? Added a Felinis cadet. Kim smiled. That is why we are here together. Each species brings different strengths. Humans don't want the alliance to become predatory. We want it to be balanced. The herbivore's caution and cooperation, the predator's decisive action and protective instinct, together. The training programs developed at the Academy soon spread throughout Alliance space. Herbivorous species learned strategic thinking and decisive action. Humans and other predatory species learned patience and cooperative problem-solving. What emerged was neither purely predator nor prey, but something new on Earth. Humanity continued to change as well. Contact W. Fully. Absolutely, Wilson replied. Peace through strength. We hope we never have to use it, but everyone knows we can. Later, in their ship orbiting Earth, Ambassador Hyun prepared his report for the Alliance Council. How could he explain? These humans? They were predators, yes, but they were also creators, explorers, and even, in their own way, protectors. The Americans particularly embody the contradiction of humanity, he dictated. They possess tremendous capacity for violence, yet channel it into structured competitions. They maintain powerful weapons, yet use them primarily as deterrents. They consume flesh without shame, yet show deep compassion for suffering. He paused, considering his final assessment. They are unlike any species we have ever encountered, and they may be exactly what the Alliance needs. The great chamber of the Galactic Alliance Council fell silent as Councillor Junho took the speaking platform. The curved walls, designed to amplify sound, ensured that even his quiet voice reached all 500 representatives of the Alliance's member species. The human delegation requests provisional membership in our alliance, Junho announced, his forearms raised in the traditional gesture of introduction. I now invite their representative to address this chamber. Secretary Donovan walked slowly to the platform, conscious that he was the first human to stand before this ancient governing body. The aliens around him represented civilizations thousands of years older than Earth's. Some had been traveling between stars when humans were still living in caves. People of the Alliance, Donovan began, Earth thanks you for this opportunity. We understand your concerns about our species. Yes, humans evolved as predators. Yes, our history contains violence. But we have also created art, music, philosophy, and science. We have dreamed of peaceful cooperation among stars. Across the chamber, Ambassador Kyo of the Felinis watched with interest. The Felinis were one of the few predatory species in the Alliance, cat-like beings who had suppressed their hunting instincts over many generations to join galactic society. Now they saw in humans potential allies who might understand them. After Donovan's speech, the debate lasted 3 days. Many herbivorous species argued against human membership, citing Earth's ongoing conflicts and militaristic cultures. Others, particularly the practical Shomal species, pointed out that humans' adaptability and resourcefulness could benefit the Alliance. The American humans especially concern me, said Elder Minji, her ancient eyes blinking slowly. Their nation maintains military forces across their entire planet and possesses enough weapons to destroy their civilization several times over. Yet they haven't used those weapons in war for 80 years, countered Councillor Hana. Perhaps their aggressive appearance masks a deeper wisdom. In the end, the vote passed narrowly. Earth would receive provisional membership for 20 years, after which a final decision would be made. 6 months later, the Alliance passenger vessel Tranquility traveled through a remote sector carrying diplomats and traders. Lieutenant James Coleman of the American Space Force led the small human security team aboard. The Alliance had reluctantly agreed to allow human security personnel on their ships after several pirate attacks in the sector. Coleman was checking the ship's defensive systems when alarms blared through the corridors. The automated voice announced, "Warning, drift pirates detected, boarding imminent." The Tranquility's crew, mostly from peaceful herbivorous species, froze in panic. They had emergency protocols, but little experience with actual violence. Coleman activated his comlink. Security team to Cargo Bay 3. Standard formation. Non-lethal responses unless absolutely necessary. The humans moved quickly through the ship, their training evident in every motion. When the pirates cut through the hull at Cargo Bay 3, they expected terrified Alliance members. Instead, they found 5 humans in defensive positions. "This vessel is under Alliance protection," Coleman called out calmly. "Surrender now." The pirates, a mixed group of outcasts from various species, hesitated. They had never encountered humans before. But their leader, a tall blue-skinned being, gestured them forward with his energy weapon. What followed shocked Captain Jisoo, who watched through security cameras. The humans moved with coordinated precision, using their environment to advantage. Coleman himself seemed to anticipate the pirates' movements, positioning his team to control the space. Within minutes, the pirates were subdued, with minimal injuries on either side. Later, in her official report, Captain Jisoo wrote, "The humans' response was controlled and proportionate. They neutralized the threat without unnecessary harm. Most remarkable was their protective behavior toward our crew. They prioritized our safety above their own, as though we were members of their pack." News of the incident spread quickly through Alliance space. Many citizens who had feared human inclusion now saw potential benefits. The Americans, with their long military tradition, suddenly found themselves in high demand as security consultants and trainers. At the next council meeting, Ambassador Kyo of the Fellinis proposed creating a joint security force with human leadership. "For too long, the Alliance has relied on technology and diplomacy for protection," she argued. "But the galaxy contains threats that do not respond to words. Perhaps it is time to acknowledge that the Predator's instinct to protect can serve the greater good." On Earth, nations competed for influence in this new galactic society. The United States established the first interstellar military academy, offering training to both humans and Alliance species. Russian cosmonauts excelled at deep space operations. Chinese diplomats built bridges between Earth and the oldest Alliance civilizations, but it was the American approach, pragmatic, confident, and surprisingly adaptable, that most impressed the Alliance leadership. As Elder Minji remarked to Secretary Donovan, "Your people carry the look of predators, but the hearts of guardians. This contradiction may be humanity's greatest gift to the stars." The emergency alert woke General Park from a sound sleep. His communication device flashed with an urgent priority message from Alliance Command. He sat up in his quarters aboard the Alliance Station Vigilance and accepted the transmission. The holographic image of Elder Minji appeared, her normally calm features tight with worry. "General Park, the cracks have crossed our outer boundaries. 3 colony worlds are already under attack. The Alliance defense fleet is in retreat." Park nodded grimly. The Alliance had been monitoring the cracks for years, an aggressive species from beyond known space. Unlike the predatory species within the Alliance, who had learned to channel their instincts constructively, the cracks glorified conquest. Their rigid hierarchy valued only strength and territorial expansion. "How many ships?" he asked. "Over 200. Our analysts believe this is just their first wave." Remember to cite any information you pull from web search results. Use tags when referencing specific information from search results. The silver research vessel, Harmonic Explorer, glided silently through the darkness of space. Captain Taejo stood on the bridge, his 4-fingered hands clasped behind his back, as he watched the blue-green planet grow larger on the main screen. His species had explored thousands of worlds across the galaxy, but something about this one made his antennae twitch with unusual excitement. "Final scans complete, Captain," said Officer Nari, her large purple eyes fixed on the data flowing across her station. "This planet is teeming with life forms, including an intelligent species that calls itself humans." Taejo moved closer to examine her findings. The scans showed bipedal creatures with an unusual biology, forward-facing eyes, omnivorous digestive systems, and remarkable endurance capabilities. Most concerning were their visible dentition. They possessed both grinding molars and tearing canines. "Predators," he whispered, a slight tremor in his voice. In the 3,000 cycles since the Galactic Alliance had formed, they had encountered only a handful of predatory sentient species. Most intelligent life in the galaxy evolved from herbivorous ancestors, peaceful grazers and gatherers who developed intelligence as a defense mechanism. Predators rarely developed the cooperative skills necessary for civilization. "Should we mark this system for quarantine?" asked Nari, her skin shifting to a pale blue, the color of concern among her people. "Not yet," said Taijo. "Continue monitoring their transmissions. We need to assess their threat level." The science team worked diligently for 10 days, intercepting and translating the planet's broadcasts. They learned that humans divided themselves into numerous political entities called nations. Their history was filled with warfare and conquest, yet they had somehow avoided self-destruction. They had primitive space travel, but had not yet ventured beyond their own star system. "Captain, you should see this," called Minho, the communications specialist. "We've identified a particularly aggressive group of humans." The screen switched to images of a nation called America. Their military forces were spread across the planet. They possessed enough weapons to destroy their world several times over. Their entertainment glorified violence. Their children played games simulating combat. "How could such creatures build a civilization?" wondered Taijo aloud. "Perhaps their predatory nature drove them to compete and innovate," suggested Science Director Sunho. "Their history shows remarkable technological progress in very short time frames, especially during their conflicts." When the Harmonic Explorer returned to Alliance space, the Council convened an emergency session. Elder Jiwoo, whose species had been spacefaring for 50,000 years, led the discussion. "The danger is clear," argued Councillor Junho, whose people had once been prey to now extinct predators on their homeworld. "We should contain these humans before they develop faster-than-light travel." "But their potential is enormous," countered Councillor Hana. "If their aggressive nature could be channeled properly, they might become valuable allies." For 7 days the debate continued. Taijo presented his findings dispassionately, though privately he felt an unusual fascination with humans. Unlike the handful of other predatory species in the Alliance, beings who had suppressed their carnivorous instincts entirely, humans seemed to have integrated their predatory nature into their civilization. On the final day, Elder Jiwoo called for a decision. "We have always believed that true civilization requires the abandonment of aggressive impulses," she said, her ancient voice steady. "These humans challenge that assumption. They fight wars, yes, but they also create art of stunning beauty. They hunt, but they also heal. They compete fiercely, but they cooperate to solve common problems." The vote was closer than any in recent memory. 76 in favor of contact, 74 for quarantine. 3 months later, the contact mission departed Alliance space. Taijo, now promoted to mission commander, stood on the bridge of the diplomatic vessel. Peaceful. Envoy. Beside him was Ambassador Hyun, the Alliance's most experienced diplomat. "We will focus initial contact on their global organization, this United Nations," said Hyun. "But I am particularly interested in understanding these Americans. If humans are predators, these Americans seem to be predators even among predators." As the ship accelerated to light speed, Taijo felt both dread and hope. The humans might prove too dangerous for the peaceful Alliance, or they might offer something the Alliance had never known it needed, the protective instinct that all predators feel toward their pack. "Set course for Earth," he ordered, "and may wisdom guide us all." Ambassador Hyun tried not to shudder as the human called Wilson bit into the brown slab on his plate. The meeting room in the United Nations building was filled with important people from Earth and 5 representatives from the Galactic Alliance. This was the 3rd day of first contact talks, and Hyun still couldn't get used to watching humans eat. "Is something wrong with your salad, Ambassador?" asked Secretary Donovan, the lead human diplomat. "No, it is quite acceptable," Hyun replied, poking at the pile of green leaves with his eating tool. His stomach pouches churned uncomfortably. "In the Alliance, most species consume only plant matter." Wilson, the American representative, laughed. "Sorry about that. We should have asked about your dietary needs before ordering steaks." Hyun's translator implant conveyed the meaning, but he still struggled to understand how these predators could be so casual about consuming flesh. His own people had evolved from small tree-dwelling creatures who ate only fruits and nuts. The very idea of killing to eat seemed barbaric. Perhaps we could learn more about human recreational activities, suggested Science Officer Nari, clearly trying to change the subject. Your cultural transmissions show many different pastimes. Secretary Donovan smiled. We work hard, but we play hard too. Sports, art, entertainment, they're all important parts of human life. Wilson leaned forward eagerly. You folks should come to America and see a football game. Now that's entertainment. 100,000 people all cheering while two teams battle it out on the field. Battle? Asked Taicho, his antennae stiffening in alarm. Figure of speech, Wilson said quickly. It's just a game. Although I did break 3 ribs and my collarbone when I played in college, the Alliance representatives exchanged nervous glances. The concept of intentionally risking physical harm for entertainment was completely foreign to them. Later that evening, in their private quarters, the Alliance team reviewed the day's events. Their predatory nature manifests in all aspects of their society, noted Science Director Sunho as he studied human broadcasts. Even their young play games involving catching and chasing. Cultural Officer Minho had been tasked with studying human entertainment media. His skin had turned pale, yellow, the color of distress. I have discovered something disturbing, he said. Humans create fictional narratives about killing each other. They call them action movies and thrillers. The Americans produce many of these. He activated a view screen showing scenes from various films, explosions, car chases, fistfights, and shootouts. The Alliance team watched in horrified silence. Are these historical records? Asked Nari. No, replied Minho. They create these stories for pleasure. Millions of humans watch them voluntarily. Ambassador Hyun felt his third heart flutter anxiously. How could the peaceful Alliance possibly integrate with such creatures? The next day, the human delegation took them to a place called Central Park. Children ran and played, couples walked, hand in hand, and old people sat peacefully on benches. It seemed almost normal until Hyun noticed something odd. What is that human doing with the small animal? He asked, pointing to a man walking a dog. That's just a pet dog, explained Donovan. Many humans keep animals as companions. You form emotional bonds with prey species? Asked Taiho in confusion. Wilson laughed again. Dogs aren't prey, they're predators too, descended from wolves. Humans and dogs have been partners for thousands of years. We hunted together. The concept of predator species forming alliances was rare in galactic history. The Alliance representatives fell silent, processing this new information. That evening they attended a formal dinner with the American president. The grandeur of the White House impressed even Hyun, who had visited the royal halls of 12. Different Alliance worlds. During the meal, Wilson enthusiastically explained American history to Taejo. We started as just 13 colonies, but we fought for our independence. Now we're the most powerful nation on Earth. We've been to the moon, built incredible cities, and our military can deploy anywhere on the planet within hours. You take pride in your military capabilities? Asked Taeho Se.